Welcome to Laugh and Learn, where curiosity leads and laughter lifts. I'm Gerald, joined by Timy Raven, Linda de Gonzalez, and Maru. And today we are exploring the devil and the tower, attachment awakening, and the moment everything shifts. Of course, you're watching, which means the best chatters are here, and your insight in the chat helps shape this journey. We really do appreciate it. You're freaking awesome. How's that?
Yes.
I think I've cleared that up.
Agreed.
Absolutely right.
Yes. So we have here. Let me do this. Welcome to welcome to Laugh and Learn, Duality Pairs. With me today is Timy from Raven Tarot Meditation. We have Linda de Gonzalez. We have Madame Maruta's House of Cards. What? Why is that in there? Whoa. Sorry. Look up. I don't know how that birthday hashtag got in there. Maybe because Maru's birthday is tomorrow, but we're not making a big deal about it.
Oh, no, not a big deal at all. We're not going to mention it absolutely every chance we get. That tomorrow is Madame Maru's birthday.
Happy hashtag birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm only turning 56.
Well, okay.
That was an easy year. Actually, that was a very bad year for me.
I'm sitting here going, you were born in 56?
Oh.
What was that, Joe?
You were born in 56?
No.
Okay.
I was not.
Linda's giving me that look like, Gerald, move on. You're very, very slow. I do want to appreciate everybody being here. You're awesome. Thank you. This is part of the Duality playlist. It's part of the Laugh and Learn playlist, which are available after the show as podcasts, to where you can listen to them in YouTube. You can take us along wherever you go. If you're going shopping, going for a walk, bring us along. We are glad to have you here.
We're highly portable.
We are highly portable.
You fit right in your pocket.
Pick us up and go.
Please like and subscribe. It's free. Maru, Linda, and Gerald all do private readings. Contact information is below. Timy hasn't started private readings yet.
Not yet.
And this is, as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really. Oh, look. Edward said happy early birthday, Maru.
Thank you.
And this is simulcasting on my channel and Linda's channel. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We're at Duality Pair number 8 already.
Wow. 8.
This is crazy. Oh, look. Morning, all. Dr. Pam. Good to see you. Happy birthday, Maru.
Thank you.
I am going to say that every single time that it comes up.
Thank you, Maureen, too.
Yes. So, Timy.
Yes.
Could you remind everybody specifically why you were working with the dualities, and then we can pop up this.
Yes.
And then talk more about this, because today we're talking about an interesting subject.
Yeah, Duality 8, insight. Well, you mean a general overview of why I'm doing this exploration into dualities?
Timy, do whatever the hell you want.
Okay. Well, this is information that I've discovered studying the Marseille Tarot, and it's an extension of my work as a recovering alcoholic I'm going through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, and being in meetings where people share about their issues and sort of getting a pretty, well, certainly a more detailed idea of how the real world works once I've gone through the 12 steps and, got a difficult part of my life. And I'm just a generally curious person. And I was looking for human philosophy that was dealing with dualities specifically, because I saw that a lot in the AA meetings. I've said it multiple times, but in a nutshell, I learned that there's no good and evil. There's just balance and unbalance.
Yes.
And it always seemed to be that the successful people who changed their behavior went from extremes to the middle, and then there's a lot of discussion, I was really extreme one way, and then I modified that behavior, and I felt like going way to the other end or something like that. It's just many, many stories. The conclusion is you need to be balanced in extremes. I was looking for human philosophical examples of that, and I stumbled on the Marseille Tarot through Carl Jung. And, these are Jungian archetypes. I think he would agree with all of this. It wasn't really laid out this way when he was studying the tarot, but I believe that this duality interpretation of Marseille Tarot was built into it 500 years ago in Italy. And I think this is just a matter of uncovering it. And that's what the purpose of these discussions are, because I needed to find a community that knew a lot more about the tarot than I did. I'm an AA expert, not a tarot expert, but I'm slowly becoming one.
Yeah. You're learning greatly. Dr. Pam said, I can vouch for that balance. Yes.
Yeah. And it seems obvious when you lay it out on the table in cards, but it's not so obvious when you're swimming around in your own head trying to get a grip on what to do next. What's the right thing? What's the right choice to make? And all of us have experienced where you're up against an issue and you really don't know whether you're going to turn left or right. You really are not sure. And you get advice from the people that you trust. And you can get advice from a human philosophical structure like this. It's very quantitative as well as qualitative.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to put my guests on the spot, Linda and Maru. How has this conversation benefited the two of you?
Well, it's definitely had me thinking more deeply about the meanings of the cards.
Mm-hmm.
I've, come across a few insights.
Yes. Yeah. Linda, how about you?
Yeah, same thing for me. I certainly have had my mind blown a couple of times by insights that just appeared. And yeah, that's all I'll say. It's just, I found it very valuable for my own growth. And I think I'm more comfortable with the tarot now. I was never uncomfortable with it, but I feel more solid, just more grounded,
Yeah. I have really benefited from the different perspectives, which is why I like to do the Laugh and Learns. I like learning something new and sharing space. We all don't have to agree on what we're saying. We all have to work to hear what everybody is saying, and it works out beautifully. It works out beautifully. And I am looking at things in a balanced or unbalanced view or imbalance. I think it's great.
Can I give a little for instance?
Of course you may.
Like I was thinking about the rainbow on the temperance card, and I realized that from a physics point of view, it is water and fire unified.
Right. The
light,
scattering of the light causing colors. Light is fire.
I like that.
Water.
Well, it's coming from the sun, and that's fire.
Exactly.
The archetypal fire, in fact.
Light is fire.
I like
Mhm.
that.
Boom. Okay.
That's great. Well, today we're talking about the 8th duality. I am going to put this up here so people can see the 8th duality, which is insight. This is free will involves navigating between animal instincts and higher aspirations. The devil, who we see on the right here, represents the physical compulsions and biological desires. The tower on the left symbolizes the spiritual experiences needed to break free from these bonds. To have true free will is to make the deliberate choice, advancing spiritual awareness in the face of biological compulsion.
Well, now that's interesting. Because free will, I'm sorry, did I interrupt? I apologize.
No, this is great.
So, free will is usually described as something that you get to choose whatever you want. You get to pick this or pick that. It doesn't make any difference, whatever you feel like it. But in this definition, free will is choosing the evolved, shall I say, the spiritual path rather than the physical.
Mm.
That to me is, I've never heard that before.
It's a challenge, I think. It's,
Oh, hell yeah.
you know, you hear memes on the internet about how life is a matrix and it's all just a game. Well, you know, there may be some small truth to that. You know, the mechanisms of the universe was created by somebody and we're participants in it. And I think that's our challenge we are in a transition from, I think, in my opinion, we're in a transition from 100% animal mechanism of the earth to a spiritually enlightened entity being. And it's a mixture of the two. We're evolving. I think that's part of what the moon card is trying to tell us. You know, we're evolving from a simpler form to a more illuminated form. And this is our journey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If Gerald, could you put the tree of life up that has the types?
Of course.
That newer
This?
one? Yeah.
Let me remove the banner.
So down near the bottom, you have the foundational dualities, and we've already gone over those. That's receptive energy, expressive energy, and the world of manifestation. And it seems to be on this more modern version of the tree of life, those are the foundational dualities. They're like the infrastructure of our behavior. And then the 4 above that are the elemental dualities. And those are where all the action happens. That's where change happens. That's where manifestations or like desires for manifestation happen. When you do card reads, that's where all the dualities are usually the ones that are challenging us in their day-to-day life. They're there. But we've gone up through the first 7, and now we're at insight up at the top right. And then across from that is humility at the top left. And then at the pinnacle at the top is the final duality, duality 10, spiritual awakening. So we're at insight, which is number 8. And the right side of this tree is the path to free will. And insight is the, I would say it's the accumulation of our experiences. It's a duality that how can I say this?
You're old enough to know better.
Well, the phrase that I've landed on to describe this one is recognizing truth when you see it, because your insight changes over time.
Yes.
And your perceptions of truth change over time due to experience. You know, you say, oh, all left-handed people smell bad. And then you meet a left-handed person and you realize that person doesn't smell bad. So it's like, well, maybe that thing that I thought was true before isn't really true. You know, and we have a lot of what I would call bedevilments. This is the duality where we are plagued by bedevilments. And I think a lot of the bedevilments are based on our animal nature. And it works against us when we're trying to follow a balanced spiritual path. And this spiritual duality is at the top of the tree because it's an accumulation of knowledge. It's an accumulation of experiences. You don't really have insight when you're a newborn child, right? Or even like a young child. You start gathering insight as soon as you start having experiences, but you don't have really true insight until you become, an active adult and you start, having real life challenges and then, getting through them. So at the top, insight is the expressive energies of boundaries, decisions, and insight. That's expressive energy being sent through the emperor and the empress, and they're being manifested in the world through the wheel of fortune. So if we go back, I guess maybe we can just discuss this at this point.
You want me to
go back to our faces? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, when I was learning about the tarot, I learned about the Devil card and the Tower card. And as we've discussed before, there's an interpretation of the individual cards that's well established. Hundreds, thousands of books have been written about it. But what we're doing here is we're creating new meaning by pairing two together. And in this duality interpretation, I think that the devil represents our animal nature. And if we look at the card, specifically this, we can go back to the duality slide.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at the devil card on the right, the chat's a little bit in the way, but if you look at the two creatures that are lightly bound with a noose with a simple knot, I think those are representative of humanity. And I think there's a male and a female gender representation there. But notice how they're not quite human and they have animal characteristics. They have those big pointy ears. They have sort of branchy antlers coming out. You can kind of see that they have like little hoofy feet. It's sort of hard to see around the chat. And then look at the devil symbol in the background. It's very large, it's in charge, and it's also sort of half human, half animal. And I think this is symbolizing our insight or lack of it, our bedevilments, self-bondage, self-incarceration. We've all had situations where we've had a wrong idea about something and we limit our own behavior because of that wrong idea. And then at some point we realize that wrong idea is invalid and we realize what the real truth is. And that's a freeing action. And I think that's symbolized by the Tower card over on the left. When you free yourself from these bedevilments, when you free yourself from animal compulsions or extreme, imbalances, the tower symbolizes that process where you go up to the top of the tower, which is a frightening thing itself, and then you take a leap of faith off of the top of the tower. And what I found as a recovering alcoholic, I had to take leaps of faith like that, and it was frightening. And when I landed on the ground unharmed, I was like, oh, I guess everybody else that did this was right. It really doesn't kill you. It's just really hard to do. And I think those multicolored spheres that are coming out of the tower is spiritual energy that's infusing the act.
I'm not sure that okay, so for me, I'm going to try not to soften my words here. I'm going to try to just stand with what I want
to be on camera, Linda. Do you want to? I can take this off. Here, let me take this off.
No, this is, it's fine with me. I don't think that it's a leap of faith. I think that lightning bolt in this particular card, it's shown as a divine flame. it's cracking that tower open. This is an outside force that may or may not be spiritual, but it's absolutely an outside force, and it is cracking you open. You're not taking I'm not taking a leap of faith. I am happy in my tower, going along with my with all of everything that I believe and doing whatever the hell I want. And then all of a sudden, kaboom, the world disappears. Well, my known structured world that I created, that's narrow and limited and bound about with walls and not inclusive, okay? That's destroyed. I fall out of there. I land on my ass on the ground. I'm surrounded by spiritual energy, and I go, here I have a choice. I can grow, or I can just try to climb back up into my tower and go back to what I used to know that was comfortable, but that got blown open by this outside force. It could be anything. It could be homelessness. It could be loss of a job. It could be your loved ones dying or leaving you or anything like that. But for you, an earth-shattering change that shakes you to your core. That, to me, that's the tower. It's not the transformation of death. Okay, it involves an outside force. I could be all kinds of wrong here.
You're not all kinds of wrong, Linda.
You're always right.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
in the dictionary.
Thank you.
Linda
There
is
is a
always right.
picture of Linda in the dictionary. Always right. I want
Four letter word.
That was
Yeah.
a fascinating analysis. I was interested to hear that for sure.
Yeah. I want to get caught up in the chat, and then I do want to step back and I want to talk about the traditional meanings that we put on the devil card and the tower, because as Timmy's saying, he's creating a new way to look at them. You're not looking at individuals, you're looking at the pairs. Part of what I like to do is I need to understand individuals to see how they will interact in the duality, because the devil and the tower create a third, which is this duality as it relates to insight. So let's see. Never stop learning. Roman says, agree with Tim on duality. Personally prefer the term polarity versus oppositional forces. Good to have in the back pocket there.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Pam said, free will for me is a bit of a misnomer. We have a free will among the choices presented to us. If we can choose what we want out of the choices we have, philosophically speaking. For example, we make a choice due to our thought process, then more than them being free will, they are just a natural outcome.
Yes, because no will was exerted. It was just, if this, then that. Okay, fine. And you just go along. There's no sort of choice being exerted. It's a path, this is what you do.
Yes. Roman also said, seeking balance between the animal and spiritual, not neglecting or giving preference to one another. Narcissus versus Goldmund.
Yeah, see, are we not supposed to be choosing the spiritual over the animal? Is that not the lesson of the devil?
Well, we are supposed to be able to control our animal impulses. We must eat. However,
Yes.
when our animal selves wants to eat more than we ought to, then our higher self is supposed to control that urge.
I think with the animal part, I think the cards are symbolically showing that we are, especially in this duality, that we are half animal, whether we like it or not. It's a reality. We need to breathe air. We need to eat food. you know, and we need to have our sense of fight or flight when emergencies arise. You know, I mean, you can't
Yes.
like think
We
you're at
need to have our
think your way
bodies
out
to
of a
carry our
car
consciousness
accident.
around in.
We do
What was
need to
that?
have our bodies to carry our consciousness around in.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think the lesson is not ignore your animal side.
Yeah.
I think it's to incorporate it honestly and with wide open eyes, and make sure that it's not like 80% animal, 20% spiritual. You want to have the balance in between the two. And the card, well, you know, it kind of illustrates it there almost. I mean, it's like half animal, half human, I think, on some of those images.
I am a person who I like the devil, in the sense the devil for me traditionally, it's about this huge burst of creativity. It's a burst of this animal insight and this animal instinct. It's an opportunity for us to be primal. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's fun to get a little animalistic and
A little dirty.
and a little dirty. It's so long as that is balanced and not out of balance, because that's when it causes a problem.
Yeah.
In my sense, because this is oftentimes for me the devil. It's about the things we are not willing to look at in ourselves.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that's hidden, that are they're part of who we are, and we're afraid to look at them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about that, Dr. Pamela, or am I allowed to call you Dr. Pamela? Perhaps it's more like tame the animal within, because certain situations, say a threat to a loved one, would bring out the animalistic behavior in us to fight back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. The shadow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But going back to what Linda said, I think the duality message here, the lesson is to strive towards spiritual balanced path, you know, a spiritual awakening path. So you have to embrace change. You have to, you know, you have to put work energy into finding the truth, recognizing truth when you see it.
Yes. Yes. Maru, when you think about the devil card, what are some of the things you traditionally think of with the devil card?
Well, this is my Order card.
I'm gonna embiggen you so people can see that. Okay.
So, animal nature, certainly. Addictions is part of the meaning.
Yeah.
Also, untruths that you tell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a big one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you would like to have a little bit more of a formal definition.
I'm going to fully support that. And Gary for Grace said, "Happy birthday, Maru." So did Dr. Pam. I'm just saying.
It says, oddly enough, to this key of grotesque and terrible aspect is attributed mirth. The devil is that horrible character of exoteric dogmatism which is so ridiculous to an enlightened person. But deeper than this, the figure represents the delusion of outward appearance.
Oh.
It says, the ancients declared that the devil is God inverted. This refers to the conception of matter as opposed to spirit, though the truth is that they are both aspects of one thing, as is graphically symbolized by the interlaced black and white triangles. Well, it's white in mine. It says the black background is a symbol of darkness and ignorance. The inverted pentagram on the brow of the devil symbolizes mental inversion. Since it is the sign of man in reverse position, it symbolizes falsehood and delusion. The symbol at the navel of the devil is Mercury. The pedestal is a half cube symbolizing an imperfect understanding of the physical world, which is represented by a cube. The two figures are personifications of self-conscious and subconscious minds.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Because I think this is, again, some aspect of us having that primal feature can be very healthy. All things in balance, all things in moderation, including moderation.
You have to take care of your body well. And
Yes.
sometimes allowing it to have indulgences gives it joy, and that is necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But don't be
Linda,
enslaved by it.
Right.
Don't be bound by it. And the point of that is given by that image where these two human symbols are very, very lightly bound. They
yes.
could remove those bonds easily themselves, but you're bedeviled, you're stuck, your insight is lacking in that particular situation, and you're just sitting there allowing difficulty to arise because you're not willing to lift that chain off around your neck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I like
Yeah.
that. Okay. Perhaps it's more like tame the animal within, because certain situations, already said that. And by the way, Dr. Pam said I could call her or them anything with love. Of course, I would always do that with love. Maybe a little snark, but always from a basis of love.
A side order of snark.
Side order of snark. Oh, look, Maru's birthday. Yes, it's tomorrow.
It's still her birthday.
It's yes, and I'm a fan of celebrating your birthday, the number of days that you are years old.
56 days, that's a lot of days.
I
That's
think it's
nearly
good.
2 months. Wow, what a party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shine Truth is here. Linda, did you have anything you wanted to share about the devil before we talk briefly
Sure.
about the power and then weave them together?
Well, the more these conversations go on, the more fascinated I am. It really is kind of a metaphor for our internal structure, isn't it? The how we balance the needs of our body, the legitimate needs of our physical selves, and the legitimate needs of our spiritual selves. And that when I was fascinated. I gotta say, Maru, I did not know that the devil was about outward appearances, but holy, does that ever connect with the tower for me now? Is the whole keeping up appearances and making sure that everything looks good and who cares what's on the inside, and then the tower moment that just destroys that and makes you start from scratch. I don't know why. I'm going to have to think about it. I don't know why that's resonating so strongly for me, but it is. That's all I have to say.
I love this because when we go from this this devil to the tower, and the tower are, I think, Linda, you said it very nicely. This is stuff that happens outside. An outside force changes us.
Yes.
Changes our
Maybe it's resonating because you have been working on your outer appearance so much lately.
Yes, thank
Been
you.
on top of your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And for legitimate reasons, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's important in business to look legit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so for me, a lot of times the tower, you know, a lot of people, they do not necessarily like the tower. There's
no.
What?
I said, well, no, I mean, it's an earthquake. It shatters.
Yes.
You had a nice little world in those
It's a
walls.
catastrophe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it can be.
Yes. The agreed, Linda. It's like the imposter we create subconsciously, which then feel like a tower moment when faced, forcing us to look within.
Yes, it's not necessarily like a catastrophe, like an earthquake, and you're although it could be. But thank you, Dr. Pam. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yes.
I'd like to make a comment.
You may make several comments if you'd like.
In other Marseille decks, I have seen the tower labeled as the house of God.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And since the tower is following the devil, I get the impression that if you overindulge, you will get kicked out of the house of God.
Wow.
I got chills.
Yes. Because oftentimes when the tower shows up, a lot of times I go, it's the, okay, am I the tower that is stuck in my old ways, in the structures that I have created, or am I the lightning which causes all of that change?
Holy boom. Okay, you guys, I'm done. I'm just like blown out of, yeah, okay. My mind's been blown way too many times for just.
The lightning is your higher power bringing you that epiphany.
Yeah, yeah.
Things need to change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And so that is, it is change which is out of our control, is how I often, it's how I learned it. So we move from the devil, which is, we're just being, you know, we're being primal. We're doing all of the animalistic things, taking care of our animalistic nature. On the other side of that, all of a sudden, it's like, now I have to live with what I've done. It's like, oh my gosh. So
Consequences.
the consequences. And in the, I think it's the Sufi Tarot, Jane the Seeker Tarot pointed out that it's in this rubble of the foundation that is no longer there, we find the gems that have been hidden from us.
Oh.
So I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of that. Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Hey, Hershey.
Hershey.
Hello. Devil flanked by Tower and Temperance.
That's interesting. Let's do a tri duality, a triple interpretation. You know, I bet you there's stuff like that in here that just haven't even touched on.
Triads.
Yeah,
that would be book 2, Timmy.
Yeah, well, I was showing you backstage last show we did, where if you look at the Tower card again, can we bring that up? See all those multicolored shapes, presumably showering down from the sky. The next 5 cards have variations of those multicolored shapes showering down from the sky, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're all part of the spiritual dualities. That's when you get to the point where you're recognizing truth when you see it. You're actually feeling spiritual energy. You're balanced to the point where you're in tune and balanced with the earth and heaven and whatever else in yourself, and you're starting to be spiritual energy. You know, you're not just consuming it. And those little explicative details are fascinating to the interpretation.
Yes. I'm going to put that. I'm going to use these cards because what he's talking about is in the background. This is where we see these heavenly bodies.
This is the last 6, the last 5. Yeah. And none of the other cards except for the Lovers. The Lovers card has that image from above that has us, well, the world. But if you can find the Lovers is further earlier in the deck, and that has like a multicolored, like showering from the sky. But none of the others do. That's the only one in the lower, in the elemental dualities. But all starting with the Devil card, which doesn't have that, but I think it's part of the first, that 8th duality. Those last 6 cards have that multicolored symbols in the air. I think that's an interesting attribute.
And also there is a, oh, look here. Happy birthday, beautiful.
Thank you, Lucy.
There we go. And so, because oftentimes people will say the Lovers, the 2 people in the Lovers are the same people in the Devil.
I've heard that.
Look at that. There's no spiritual energy raining down in the Devil card, but there is in the Lovers card. I think spiritual energy is being repelled by the Devil card. It's preventing you from making that spiritual connection because of your animal bondage. That's my interpretation. I think the Tower, the way I envision it, and my envisioning is going to change after our conversation. It always does. But the way I originally would look at it is the Tower is the exit from the dungeon where the Devil and the 2 figures are, bound.
Oh, okay.
And when you escape from the bondages of the Devil card, you go up the tower, like the Tower of Babylon that insulted God by, having the what was it, the hubris to try to reach heaven. That's a symbol of reaching up, reaching for spiritual enlightenment. I think that's what the Tower is symbolizing, and it's the exit out of the Devil's dungeon. And it's frightening because it's so high, but people who have done it tell you, just jump off, just ignore those bedevilments and progress. You'll be fine. To me, that's what the symbol's telling me, because the Tower, like if you go back to the individual card meanings, for me, the Tower as an individual card is, significant change, like you're saying, like an earthquake, a shaking up of things that you believed in, and, possible dangerous change, maybe, and Gerald, the things you mentioned about, what is the origin of that spiritual force that's knocking the crown off the Tower? Is that exactly what it is? The crown being knocked off the top of the Tower? But that's where I am on the Tower card, I guess.
I like that. Roman has shared what is falling is the unicorn fairy glitter.
Of course it is.
Oh. I should have read further along in the book. That's a great term, though. When we do another chart, I'll
read a few things from the Boda book?
Absolutely, Maru.
Yeah.
It says that this key is attributed to the stage of spiritual unfoldment called awakening because it represents the flash of clear vision which reveals to the searcher the true nature of his being, which has previously been hidden from him because of the bondage of his consciousness. The Tower is the structure of error and ignorance, which is struck by the lightning of spiritual comprehension emanating from the central sun of truth or pure being. The crown which is knocked from the top of the Tower is willpower, but it is a false crown, for it represents personal will.
Okay, so how do we? What's the difference between personal will and free will?
Easy for you to say.
It says,
I mean-
right knowledge begins with the flash of comprehension that reveals to us the true nature of will. Hence, what is really overthrown is the delusion that we exist as separate personalities, which delusion is the cause of all human suffering and limitation. The falling figures are self-consciousness and subconsciousness. The flash of superconsciousness turns all of our conceptions of personal consciousness upside down and utterly destroys these false conceptions.
Yes.
Yeah. I think in this interpretation, free will is the opposite of animal instincts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To be free of those bounds of those bindings,
The bonds.
you need to exit from the top of the tower in that frightening way.
Mhm.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you can grow into it. There doesn't necessarily have to be a tower moment. It can be achieved through death, through transformation. I
And
think.
also the epiphany can be less physically impactful. It can just be, suddenly you understand.
Spiritual growth in general.
Yeah, transformation.
You have that mind blown that happens.
Yeah.
Well, and this is duality number 8, which is insight. Looking at this pair, the devil to the tower, the devil is oftentimes losing ourselves in that primal force and really going into that. The tower is that that getting that flash of insight, which is like,
lightning
wait
bolt.
a minute.
I kind of
finally
like
get it.
thinking of it as physical wisdom versus spiritual wisdom.
I don't think the devil is wisdom, though.
No,
I
I
think
don't
the
think
devil
so.
is
But it represents your
our
body, which
animal
has
side.
its own body wisdom.
Yes, that's true. I agree with you there. Your body has its own wisdom, but I don't believe that that's.
It used to be our only wisdom, but now we have a choice between two.
Thank you, Tim.
I think that's the gift. I think that's the evolutionary gift that you see symbolized in the moon card, where you have the water and then you have that like crab lobster creature coming out, and then it's like a four-legged animal, and then it's a human being. It's a analogy, I think, for evolution, biological evolution, being drawn into a spiritual evolution, and you become more and more spiritual and less animal as you progress. But at some point you hit a balance point where I think you can't go any further. I mean, I think our previous discussion is valid. We are half animal at
There is
best. and
something that I've heard about how like our intuition and stuff works, like how we used to have it sort of an automatic sense like animals do, but then we changed into more intellectual. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I'm following you.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Maru, Hershey said that's a good mic. You sound good.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, you do.
Hershey also said, not to me. If the tower shows up, you missed your chances. And now the universe said, my turn.
It's the bonk of enlightenment.
It is the bonk of enlightenment.
And sometimes you can fail when the bonk of enlightenment hits you and you hesitate or you lose your nerve. You don't have that spiritual awakening moment. You go right back down into the basement with the devil.
Yes. And for those of you who have forgotten, that is the bonk of enlightenment.
Was my mic off that whole time? No, it wasn't.
No.
Whenever you go to the commercial, the mic turns off, and I look at it and I go, "Oh shit! Did I not have my mic on for this?"
It's automatic. There are, by the way, the best chatters are bringing it.
Oh, heck yeah.
Iron Firehorse says,
Oh, yeah.
I love epiphanies.
Me too.
Me too.
Blinding flash of insight. Bring it on. I love it.
what I love the epiphanies. What I don't love is when the epiphanies completely shatter everything that I know.
And
Then
worked
it's like,
for.
oh, yeah, yeah. Dr. Pam said the devil is like a mirror.
Absolutely.
We need the mirror as much as we hate it. Some deny their reflection and some work with it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Here you go. I believe the devil's a nasty twist on joy seeking Pan.
Well, that's, I think, Irene, I think that's because that's how it's drawn.
That is how that, yes, I'm drawn that way.
Yeah, yeah. But except that, yes, Pan is joy seeking, and joy is a deeply spiritual quality.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
So, ascribing joy to the devil is not appropriate. It
I don't
doesn't.
think that's true because it makes you happy.
Happy is not the same as joy.
It
Happy
feels like joy sometimes when you are just
yeah.
like flying in
Happy
this
is-
situation.
Happy is getting what you want, not what you need.
Thank you. Getting what you want. It lasts for like 10 minutes. And joy is something that carries you through. It's there. It just sits there within you and supports you.
False joy. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
the joy that fools you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing that Pamela said about the mirror, I think the mirror is also a symbol of honesty, like self-honesty, particularly.
Yes.
I had to look in the mirror as a recovering alcoholic and look at my actual behavior. And I didn't want to do it. Nobody does.
Yeah.
Everybody gets stuck on the fourth step, which is the looking in the mirror step, where you evaluate your own bad behavior. And that is a requirement. Self-honesty and honesty in general with the people that surround you is a requirement for spiritual balance and success and happiness in your life.
When we acknowledge the devil within us.
Yeah.
And start working with it.
Yes.
And
Putting energy into changing.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah. It's like inviting the devil in for a cup of tea. When the tea is done, you kick them out. I am always saying a lot of times, if I'm going to dance with the devil, I'm going to lead.
Yeah.
And so,
yes, ma'am.
Sometimes happy can be coping and avoiding something.
Mm-hmm.
Hershey said, joy is a feeling, not an emotion to me. There's ownership there. Dr. Pam said, absolutely, Tim. What supposedly distinguishes us from the beast is the capacity for abstract thinking, imagination, fantasy, and lies.
I almost agree with all of that, but I think lies are part of our animal nature, but fantasy, imagination, and abstract thinking are definitely spiritual.
Mm-hmm. Do not get me started on toxic positivity. Because it's, yes, the overabundance of just slathering thoughts and prayers on something instead of like going, I see you're really hurting. I'm going to sit with you for a little bit and recognize I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. So
using words instead of connection.
Yes. And this is an interesting thing, again, going from that insight, that ability to have the choice of moving from the physical compulsions into this spiritual experiences and how we look at it. I find it very, very interesting. Timy, what are your thoughts on the duality of insight?
I think it's expressive energy. It's the right-hand path. I think it's I think it's an accumulation of our life, our biological life experiences. That's where all of the info that we've gathered over our lives is held. And, you know, if you have really good insight, then you're usually a successful person. And, you know, the definition of success has a lot of definitions. But I think generally, having good insight means you're a balanced person. You recognize your animal nature, and you recognize that it's in your benefit to pursue spiritual growth and a spiritual path as well, equally as much as your animal existence. And it's at the top of the tree of life. It's what we strive for, and some of us do it better than others. I think this entire tree structure, this entire Marseille deck duality structure is helpful, and then it quantifies our behavior. These are the archetypes of behavior, in my opinion. And the revelation, like we were talking about, what was the word? You know, having a epiphany is now I'm losing my train of thought. I lost my train of thought.
I think something that's important, none of us said one of these is better than the other. We never put a value judgment on either of these cards.
Right. That's kind of what my point was going to be. It's recognizing the truth when you see it. And I'm half animal. That's the truth. And I see it. And I make accommodations for it, you know?
When we can look at that mirror carefully and see, we quickly become aware of and able to make choices, informed choices. I'm not going to get into the idea is there free will or not? That's a whole different show. But this is.
I disagree, though. I'm entirely animal, but I'm being driven by a spirit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Say a little bit more about that for me, if you don't mind.
Our bodies are products of the natural world. We share characteristics with all the other animals that we share this planet with.
Mm-hmm.
Our major difference is our ability to communicate so complexly and to think so complexly that I don't know, somehow it takes us out of that animal impulse into self-control.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's kind of a variation on being a soul having a physical experience, you know?
Mm.
Like being, our bodies are inhabited by our souls.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, except
I think our intellect is separate from our biological body.
Except that's not satisfying to me as a description, because I think the feedback goes constantly between the two. It's not a mechanistic kind of a thing where you're in the car and driving it and you hear, you know, bing, 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 and you go, oh, something's wrong. I need to take it to the garage. It's a much more integrated and interdependent, almost, not quite, but almost. It's a much more integrated experience.
Yeah. Dr. Pam said, for me, it's like our soul has worn the overalls of a human body, but over a period of time, we assume the overalls to be permanent.
Mm-hmm.
then we go on this journey to realize the overalls are temporary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're all generally agreeing,
Oh yeah. I think what's insightful for me, you have to have both aspects.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have all of these aspects, your experience in this existence may be very different. I know there are people who they try to remove their primal urges, their animalistic nature, and good for them if it works. I think, but if you're all intellectual, there's a give and take. There's a flow.
If you don't take care of your body, it will fail you, and then it won't be able to be intellectual.
Or worse yet, it will show itself. Those appetites will I don't know what to call it. Those appetites will become twisted.
Obsession.
And they'll show themselves in harm to others.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yep.
So it's not just an imbalance at that point. I mean, it is, but it's an imbalance and
if control becomes suppression.
Yeah, and I don't want to use the word perversion because that has such emotional load to it. All right, but it's a twisting, a misshapenness.
I feel like we need to acknowledge that our bodies are sacred too. They're not just devils.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't think the devil card is bad or the tower card is bad or good. No. Either one is not bad or good. They're just what they are. And I think they symbolize, a duality about our personality, our ability to gain insight and strive towards spiritual awakening.
After all, the devil is a fallen angel.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You want to get into the Hollywood side of
well, that's the biblical side.
Stories, Yeah.
Yes. Pamela said, or Dr. Pam said, as Bernardo Kastrup, one of my favorite philosophers, said, the universe wants to learn about itself. So what we have, face, our tower moments, etc., goes back to the universe as insight through us.
Yeah.
So it can learn about itself.
Yeah. We are the way the universe talks to itself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Iron Fire Horse had experienced deaths as a preschooler, and I had a couple of groovy babysitters to help. So, how's the book coming, Timy?
Oh, man.
I didn't do any work on it this week. This was a very crazy, busy week for me.
Okay.
Personally, we had some issues here at home, medical issues, but everything's fine. But I had thought about it a lot. I'm still putting it together, but I really don't think that I can work on it in earnest until we get through all of these 10 dualities. These discussions are too valuable to me.
They are, and thank you for letting me host it. Thank you for Linda and Maru for coming and being fully engaged and adding so much insight
and birthday energy.
And the birthday energy.
I have a number 8 birthday.
Oh, and we're talking about the 8th duality.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Significant.
Ooh.
I'm loving that. And I think, and I want to say thank you for everybody who has watched this and added. Your best chatters really brought it, and thank you very, very much. If you know of somebody who would benefit from this, please, by all means, encourage them to subscribe to our channels. And if this conversation sparked insight, tap that like and subscribe. It truly helps the series to reach more curious learners. subscribe to all of the channels, because you'll find out when Maru does a pop-up and when Linda has a show like Akashic Adventures this afternoon.
I will be doing pop-ups for my birthday tomorrow.
Oh, good.
I will look for that. I need to see one live. I looked
Yeah,
at a couple
me
of your
too.
recordings.
Me
Cool.
too.
Thanks.
I love it. I love it. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will see you next time. Bye.
See ya.